Hello there, Byakamizu desu, and welcome to my review of Spider-Man and also Miles Morales. So I will try not to do a very long video about this because I want to talk about the two games, and I also played the DLCs of Spider-Man, so I will try not to drag this out talking about the two games. So Spider-Man. I played Spider-Man this year because we had a friend that lent us the game, and I wanted to play Spider-Man before I played Miles Morales. So I really loved the experience. I really enjoyed the gameplay. It's a game that I find that's easy to do all the trophies and all the things, and the game is so fun that you actually want to do them, because in most games I have played I don't have this drive to fully 100% complete the game. You will see that in both games you have lots of small objectives and side missions to do, and you will want to do them because the story is fun. You want to know more about the characters, although there are some challenges that I didn't quite enjoy. So the story of Spider-Man, I really enjoyed his story. So it's an older Spider-Man, and his life is basically established, and he will have this Sinister Six group to deal with, and you have his relationship with MJ, you have Aunt May. I really love Aunt May in this game. I'm a fan of Tobey Maguire's movies, and I also watched the movies of Tom Holland, and I don't like Aunt May from those movies, so I like the dynamic of the characters. They are really well explored. And the story, if you watch the Tobey Maguire's movies, I feel like this is another version of Dr. Octopus that you're watching, but much more difficult, and you don't have the redemption that you see in the movies. So I don't know a lot about the comics, I never read Spider-Man's comics, so I only know what I saw in the movies. I really like the characters. I really liked the DLCs where you can know more about Black Cat, because in the main story Black Cat is only mentioned, and you have this side mission where you can know that she's up to something, and you will see that in the DLC. You have a DLC where Sable is the focus. I didn't really enjoy Sable in the main game. I get her character, she's this mad Russian woman most of the time. Peter is always making fun of this because she's angry all the time. And it's a character I don't really enjoy. The DLC made her a little better, but still, it isn't a character that I'm a fan of. And I'm actually forgetting the other DLC. Well, but I played them all, and I like the villains. I don't know much about the other villains that appeared of the Sinister Six. I liked Electro and Vulture. They had a really cool dynamic between the two of them. Rhino, after you play Miles Morales, Rhino is one of the villains that stuck the most with you. And the way they develop Dr. Octopus, it's amazing. Martin Lee is also Martin Lee, or Mr. Negative, is also a very cool villain. I really enjoyed the sequences, like some sort of dream sequence where we fought with him, and they were really cool. Almost like there's also a sequence where Peter is poisoned by this mental hallucinogenic, and it's almost like a horror sequence, and it's really cool to play. Villains that I didn't enjoy. I didn't really enjoy the challenges of Taskmaster. I did them, but it was not one of my favorite things to do. And Screwball. screw that, because Screwball is just plain annoying. Her challenges are also a pain to do, and I literally gave up. I wanted to do all the challenges and side missions on the map, and Screwball was the one thing that made me quit that idea. I I really, and in all the DLCs you have Screwball challenges, and it's awful. Each one of them is awful. I hate Screwball. As for Black Cat, I really like the way they develop her character. I like the design that she has. She's really interesting. I know that her voice actress is the same that gave Jessie's voice acting in Final Fantasy VII Remake. And although I don't like Jessie, I really like her voice actress, and I think she did an amazing job with Black Cat. And it's really interesting to explore this Black Cat that she's not a villain, she's an anti-heroine, and she's really likable. I wish you could see more of her. She's always teasing Peter, especially because of their past relationship, and it's really funny to be MJ, to see her make these sassy remarks because she's a bit jealous of Black Cat, and she can see that Peter does not handle well the Black Cat. Hammerhead had a lot of exposure in Sable's story because he basically becomes this head in the robot body. It was fun to do and a little challenging. His boss was quite difficult at the end, but they tried to portray another side of Sable, but as I said, they can't do much for what I think of the character. She has an interesting design. I like what they try to do with her, but I don't know. I can't enjoy really much about Sable. I also enjoyed very much the DLC of Yuri Watanabe. It was interesting to see this dark side and how she's going to become. You will discover at the end of the DLC that she will become this vigilante, so she will not be the righteous policewoman that she's been so far with the help of Peter. She's going to basically cut ties with Spider-Man and become a vigilante to kill the criminals as she sees fit. So Peter will at some point, perhaps in Spider-Man 2, he will probably try to stop her, or they will face each other eventually. As for Miles Morales, you can see Miles when you play the Spider-Man games. It was really fun to play with him with the hacking ability that he has. And at the end of Spider-Man, he's bitten by a spider that escaped Norman Osborn lab, so that's MJ's fault. And he now will become another Spider-Man. And Miles Morales, they sold it as an entire game, and it has a lot of story, and it really explores Miles' character. But at the same time, I don't think it's enough to be a solo game or to be sold at full price like it's being sold. Miles is trying to establish himself as Spider-Man, so Spider-Man Peter Parker goes on a work vacation with MJ to Symkaria. Yes, they're going to go to Sable's land, and Miles basically remains responsible for taking care of, not Harlem, but Harlem is the main place where he is, but he's the New York's only Spider-Man now for some time. Of course, the game is also on Christmas, so it's a very fitting time of the year to be talking about Miles Morales. You will see that he has basically no villains for now. The main villain that he has is Rhino, so that's why you have a lot of it's the one villain that sticks with you. It's also funny because when you play with Miles in Spider-Man's game, you also are trying to escape Rhino, so I think they took that and developed it in this game. And you also have Tinkerer. So Tinkerer, you will eventually find out that it's his best friend, that it's trying to make justice by her own means, and basically he wants to stop her because she is putting all the entire city in danger by the justice that she wants to make. And you have all this development. I don't really enjoy Tinkerer's character because I think I get this rivalry that they wanted to make someone that was close to him, but she is mad with him, and then she discovers his identity, and then she wants to do things differently, and then she ends up falling in the same kind of thinking where she wants to go back into her magnanimous plan and destroy everything, and she's basically back and forth. So you feel like she doesn't have a line of thinking. She just changes her mind according to, I'm good with Miles, I'm angry with Miles. So it's a little bit confusing, and I don't. It's not a villain that for me is very impactful. So you also have lots of side missions. You also have, of course, Easter eggs or things relating to the past game. You have Gloria, which is one of the homeless people that Peter saves and then goes to feast. You have Howard, the pigeon guy, which Miles also helps in a side mission. Miles has a friend, Genki, that he's helping him with his spider stuff. I actually really like Genki because he's quirky, he's fun, and he really helps Miles a lot. He even creates a friendly neighborhood app so Miles can know what is happening if someone wants something. And of course you have his uncle, that is the Prowler. But the Prowler here, for the ones who saw Spider-Verse, I don't know, Prowler was somewhat of a villain. Here he is more like a vigilante. He's being hired by people. He's trying to not do bad stuff to correct himself, but at the same time he wants to get money, and he just tries to do what people hire him to do. But Miles has a really good development. I can say that I finished all the things that he had to do. I also was able to conquer most of the trophies. It's a really fun game and really easy to complete fully. You also have the New Game Plus. I don't think I enjoy very much the mechanic of the New Game Plus because basically you have a maximum level in which you can evolve. So you reach level 20 in the normal game, and if you want all the abilities and all the suits and everything, you have to play the New Game Plus. I thought that playing the New Game Plus was just playing the game afterwards, repeating missions that I wanted to repeat, but no. New Game Plus is a game mode where you basically repeat all the story as you haven't played it, but you already have the things that you had in the normal game. So although it's funny to replay that first Rhino boss knowing fully the mechanics and having all these abilities that they don't teach you, at the same time I don't see any reason for me to have played the game and repeat all the game again just to be able to get everything. One thing that I really love about Miles is his abilities. It's really interesting to see him because Spider-Man, he's really a regular guy. Yes, he has more strength and he has abilities that a normal human being doesn't have, but it's mainly physical and it's basically also his genius mind. In Miles' case, you have this bioelectricity that gives you the venom abilities because it stings like Genki says, and you have the invisibility, which was really fun to use because I really like to do stealth takedowns and stuff like that, and even if you were caught you could just go invisible and go somewhere else and they wouldn't notice you, so it was really fun. One thing I must say about Miles is that he must be the worst Spider-Man at keeping a secret. So basically with Peter, the only people who know his identity are MJ, Dr. Octavius ends up discovering, and you will see at the end Aunt May also knew his identity. She suspected. But Miles, I don't know, off screen, tells Genki that he's Spider-Man, and then he reveals his identity to the Tinkerer because he wants to stop his best friend, and his uncle also knows his identity, and then his mother also discovers it, and then at the end a whole bunch of people in the neighborhood, including Gloria, knows his identity. It was like in Tobey Maguire's movie, it was like that scene on the train where everyone sees who he is and nobody reveals his secret. But God, Miles really can't keep a secret. But oh well, it's it's part of his story. And one thing that I want to that I've been questioning myself is they are going to make a Spider-Man 2, but right now you have two Spider-Men, so how is that going to work? Because are they going to focus on Peter's story? Are they going to try to alternate between Miles and Peter? Are you going to play with one of them and then kind of repeat the story with the other? It's these questions that I want to leave because there are lots of things that they can do with the second game and I'm really looking forward to it, but at the same time I don't know how they are going to solve this because now you have two Spider-Man and they are established and they are playable in different games, so it's going to be tough. Also, I don't want to end this video without mentioning the change of face of Peter Parker. That was painful. That was so... I don't have words for that, because you hear the voice actor and you really like Peter's looks in Spider-Man, and then you are hearing him and he's with his spider suit and then he takes off his mask and it just destroys you. It's not that his face is ugly or something like that, but I look at him and I see a kid a little bit older than Miles. Instead of seeing an adult with an established life like Peter is supposed to be, he's supposed to be a spider bro of Miles, but he's also like a father figure or a really older brother. So I don't want to see literally brothers. I want to see this gap of experience and age between them, and I think this change of model was really not welcome. It was painful every time. I really had a moment in the game where you have an Easter egg where Miles, before knowing Peter, crosses paths with him in the science exhibition. And I only knew that that guy was Peter because he was with Dr. Octavius. And I was like, why would Miles show Dr. Octavius? And then I knew that guy was supposed to be Peter. I didn't recognize him at all. So I really hope, there's rumors that they are going to change the model again for the Spider-Man 2. I really hope that that happens, and I would really love to get an update to have Peter's old face in Miles Morales. But to basically conclude this, they are both amazing games. I really love the mechanics, I really love all the side missions and everything. I really love the characters, and I'm really looking forward to a second game. So tell me what you thought. If you want to see screenshots, because as I'm playing the games, I take screenshots and post them on my Twitter, so you can also try to check that out. And tell me what you think of those games, and what do you think they will put on the next game, and what do you want to see. See you!